Check it. Yeah, sure. 018476 maweza ya ditara kwa sebesetswang ka lerata di jam di tewa ka mabota. Today ke na le guest engwe sira se blind ya go kasi. Guest ke go kasi e ba fetu. Ke na le tips ngwana, ke na le tips ngwana ka.
Do it, bra.
No man ke sharp out ya. So now tips ke batla o briefly fela o kae machitare kapo ebo mense ko kasi everywhere hore ke bua le mang wa ngana sene ke bua le mang ke tips ke mang o tsona ke lo jaga tips but when maybe you have names tse lo ngo tse ka tsona and people this is me wa ngana stand
yes bra ka nna ke tips as linkiti but ke tebogo madibo basically tebogo was born in Klerksdorp. I've been here all my life, you see. So, Nakintona Madlera, basically, I was born in J Town, no? Sure. And then Kyaholela go kanana, because at some point I had to move. So, basically, that's who I am. I'm a legal practitioner by profession. And then I studied my LLB, completed it in 2021. And then from there, I've been practicing ever since. So I started with Klerksdorp Tennis, which was the firm I did articles with till I completed, and I started working as a legal researcher for, of course, Osays and attorneys. So I'm still fresh in the building, I guess.
And you're still young.
I'm still young.
You're still young.
Yes, I'm still young in age. Yes. So because I know people usually find that shocking to say, Mare.
Exactly.
You get what I mean? Because we have history of those in the legal profession whereby when you start, of course, because you still have to build your name and build your reputation. So you find, of course, people are meeting you at first glance and then they thinking they're going to see somebody older, of course, because in our lifetime, we've always known legal practitioners to be old people. So when somebody's young and vibrant as well, because it's not like we formalize this setup whereby race are rigid, whereby somebody's supposed to come with suits. We can still be young and be vibrant and still be focused in the legal practice or the legal sphere in that regard.
So Mara, how do you find the career we choose it in so far? I get what's about at first maybe you can go in and study, maybe varsity level could be that thing that maybe you flow, you read because you like reading.
Yes.
You're a person who likes reading, then you read and you find it okay. Mare, now when you come into the field where you're supposed to work, how are you finding it? Is it something that you liked, or did you have that thing out there?
Yes. The funniest reason with regard to that question is that basically in school I was like primary, I would say I would perform. I was one of those kids who can read from a young age, and then given the capacity of that time, of course it was still public schools because my first grade go Edisang Primary School in Joburton. And then I went to Kanana in Tataise Primary School. That's where most of the time I you know, bro.
Sure.
You've been there. But it's where I started to say I realized myself in terms of the fact that shout out to Mema Mukwena, by the way. She was forcing me to read because my confidence, as a kid, trying to read English and Sesotho balance, so she would force it out of me. And that somewhat gave me some of the confidence sometimes to read in front of my class. You get what I mean? And then to sort of take a role in class. And then from there, after that period of time, that's when I excelled. But when I got to high school, I was a very problematic child. With me, I was in Valtech at the time whereby, we are the middle child, we were about middle ages. So now, at that time, that life, we repeat certain grades. And then I stayed in high school for longer. So, but I argue it out and say I balanced it out for 7-7 at least.
Okay,
So I
okay,
stay
sure.
In those two.
At least nyana wa blow mas qeta go tla no so bitswa ancestor da kwa.
We almost got to that level because there is
Sure.
in that sphere. So yeah, no, even the morale ya gago ya go bala, it had to change. You had to look at certain perspective because it has never been a doubt that I was a smart kid from high school. I just didn't take school seriously, you see. Because negilolo my teacher ba mo khalebela gore wena ha o rate school wa dosha wi yana le yana. So but as time progressed and then after failures, because failure will help you grow sometimes. So now after that failure and then godula mo classeng tse itseng, I said I ka se go dula le bana ba ka mo, I have to pick up the standard.
Sure.
And at least ke bona gale le nna. So when I go to matric, I started studying hard. And then I was able to get into LLB. I studied my LLB. I started go Mahikeng campus, which is the NWU.
Okay.
And then at some point I relocated to the Big. That's where I completed my LLB degree. And then ever since, that's when I came to practice. Yeah.
Mare share like also no, I'm asking you based on maybe from ko huletsente.
Yes.
Hulela ka hi ka mama weza ka hi.
Yes.
So now, what inspired the career? Okay, out of all the careers, maybe after finishing matric and all that, and also okay, choose papa. Okay, if you choosing, like law.
You know how the journey I lawyer study like a thing. It wasn't very simple. Because for me, there were a few lawyers around, no lawyers around actually, no doctors, no nothing. So we had nobody to aspire to. You get what I mean? So you wanna be a doctor. Yeah. So for me it was like, who are the most paid people? I'll be lawyers or doctors.
Sure.
So at that stage you were like, doctor, I wanna save lives as a child. And then you go to the hospital. As a child,
which one?
we've always wanted money, Chief. We've always wanted to raise that bar because you must understand when you are around, you grew up in dismal poverty, especially when you grew up in Kanana in Klerksdorp. We are a poverty-stricken community.
Okay, sure.
So because of that, I think we grew up with that thing. You need to do something to get about this. So it's either you can be a soccer star, or you can be a musician, or you can either be an academic. And then for me, I saw, okay, no talent in terms of soccer or any sports. So I was like, okay, what can I do that I'm good at? And then I was like, doctors, you'll have to deal with patients and then they're really sick. So I'm like, no, I can actually speak well. So my ability to speak is what inspired me to think, okay, lawyers speak for a living. Let me try to pursue this and see how far it gets me. And now I guess we are here.
Because I was looking at one of the books. One of the booking one is here, man. It's a book, man. Yeah, I'm looking at this book. I'm like, here, man, book kana.
Well, I guess that's the ropes you have to go through. The thing, you know, but the thing is about applying yourself. I think most of the time, if a person are determined, they play like, okay, this is what I want to achieve, you know, this is what I want to do with my life. Then the consequences that come as part of that career becomes the burdens you have to carry. But unfortunately, or fortunately, it grows you as a person. So it starts with one little book and then you grow your reading abilities. You can start with saying, I'll read 10 pages per day. You get what I mean? Till your concentration span grows, and then now you are able to read it. And then over time, as you learn, because law is like a puzzle, it comes together at some point. So you start realizing it for what it is, and then from that point on, everything starts to make some form of sense to say, okay, this is how we help the society at large. This is what it is. This is what we need to do to use it to assist the society. Yes, and that's when now you become a practitioner, a proper legal practitioner, I would say.
So practitioner.
Yes, we are legal practitioners. Because I know other people struggle with the difference between an advocate and an attorney. And we'll tell them, hey, there's a difference. They're like, no, all lawyers are advocates, and you're like, no, there's a difference. So, but all of us are classed under one umbrella, which is legal practitioners.
Okay.
So a magistrate, an advocate, a maintenance officer, you know, is a legal practitioner in a way, because they work in enforcing and applying the law. Yes.
So what's the difference, Vele, between an advocate and an attorney?
Okay, so the easiest way to understand it is that I would say an attorney is the heart of the firm.
Okay.
So in the previous dispensation before the act, now we have the Legal Practice Act. Before that, there was an Attorneys Act, and then, you know, the differences in terms of how advocates and attorneys were governed. So basically, the difference between an attorney and an advocate is that an attorney would normally practice with what we call a trust account, meaning an attorney gets to meet the clients, you see, consult, draft a brief, and then an advocate comes later. Let's say, for example, the matter goes to the High Court or the Supreme Courts, should I say, or the Constitutional Court for that matter. Then an attorney will brief an advocate, meaning he would have wrote everything on paper and he will provide it to the advocate to say, this is my case, please take it to the High Court and argue it. Because not all attorneys appear everywhere. So if you're an attorney, likely you'll appear in the lower courts, which predominantly was the magistrate courts and the regional court, and then an advocate will be in the superior court. However, the Legal Practice Act got to change all of that. It gave a bit of a difference to that, to say now advocates can also practice with a trust account and meet clients. You see, it's no longer like before where they just had to meet with the attorney in exchange of a brief, but now they can all do the same thing. And then there can be advocates who practice without a trust account and advocates who practice with a trust account, meaning those who practice without a trust account still have the olden way of doing things, being that of being briefed to appear in the higher courts on behalf of clients, of course, and on behalf of firms. Yes.
So okay. So so you grew up in a we grew up actually
yes.
in a poverty-stricken area. So but I'm confused because now we are surrounded by mines.
Yes.
How do we come about a point of us being stricken by poverty, but surrounded by mines, the control and the economy?
Well, my brother, that is a very, very complex question in which all of us are still asking that question. Because one thing we've seen in our counter locations is that you'll see Majita Babanzi, you find the youth into drugs. Some of them come here and they get arrested, they commit crimes, offenses, and some of them become repeated offenses, dangerous criminals that we'll likely have in the society. But I think at the heart of it is knowledge. We are not, as the youth of Klerksdorp, provided enough opportunities, or there is not enough skill development. You know, because you find guys, education is not encouraged as much, and then learning about what is gold, because we are from the city of gold. This is Klerksdorp after all. So now you find young people who are segregated from knowledge, but also there's a difference between the economy, because you need to understand that Klerksdorp has a background of that old apartheid system where the resources were in the hands of certain people, and then there were certain communities that were disadvantaged as of it. So I feel like there hasn't been enough social skill development done by the mines to try to make way for our people to try to develop themselves, to be able to at least have the primary skills at least of what happens in the mines. Because some people understand that the mines have gold, but once you start to sit down with different people in the mines, you see there are many faculties, so to say, in the mines. There's production, there's other people, there's fitters, there's engineers, there's a whole lot of different other careers. So everybody has that aspect. I'm just gonna go underground. But you also have legal advisors there. I have a good friend of mine who used to practice with us in Tate Godlela. Shout out to Tate Godlela. He's that side. He's you see the legal advisor for the mine. So there are different avenues. There's nurses, doctors that work with the mines. So it's not only confined to the mining space.
Sure.
There's a lot of opportunities there. But because I also think information is not put forth by the mines enough for people to have access there to know of these opportunities. Because I know some of them will say, yeah, they're there online, but what is the access do we have to online? Because the ghettos are not like the cities where we have the luxury of Wi-Fi and internet. The people there are still struggling. They still rely on the newspaper because now you can get your newspaper on your telephone, on your cell phone. I mean, so but they don't have that luxury, so they're information deprived as well.
So how our community is structured, maybe now, if I can put it that way. Yes. In terms of, would you blame the system that was there before? Okay, the reason why we're still here is because of the system that was there. And what's the difference between maybe the township cultures and everything, and maybe the urbans and the other side of the culture?
Yes, what if you would go through the history of Klerksdorp, you would know, especially in regard to Kanana. Okay. I think as you cross the bridge towards Orkney, you've seen more, there are old churches on the side. And then there are destructed old buildings that you can see are from the early 1900s or something. So before Kanana was there, everybody lived there and they worked for the mines in Ibizwa. Okay. And then I do believe the government was busy with the restitution, not the restitution, but the compensation of the people who used to live there. So those people who used to work for mines like number 6, at some point it was said that it was not safe for them. I don't understand on what measures to this day, but I think some people who are older and who were there, then they can give us better light. But they were then moved into Kanana, whereby they were placed in this disenfranchisement, basically, to move you from what you've known to be your home to now the location. And then from there you can see access to land is a problem. Poverty becomes a thing. So from the olden apartheid days, obviously ghettos were made for labor. Locations were made for labor. So these people were still catering the same services to the mines, basically. Over time, because of the lack of resources, the lack of access of proper human decency, so to speak, gangsterism grew, and then we had small gangs, and then that led to now the location being at a state of chaos because you have kids now who cannot go work. Some of them are not equipped skill-wise. They cannot go do anything with their hands. They cannot go to school. Some of them didn't get that opportunity. So now that influenced the gang culture. And then because you've seen in every poverty-stricken place, you'd find the grot man go koning, a regisa something, and then you would give to a kid to say, okay, regisa get la bokana. And then now that kid has no knowledge of anything. He just knows kasi. And then that gives him some sort of nyukonyana hora khona go tshwara a tshwarise iketse moja wa hasela foena. But they don't even understand at that age, because sometimes it's still young kids. You'd see 12-year-olds joining gangs, and then from there is downhill. Now you are initiated into gangs. You cannot get a proper job because you have a criminal record. You cannot develop. Nobody wants to work with you because now. So now what do? You become now, you go down a path of crime, and then that creates a state of kasi the way we see it. So it's not every kid who just grows up and says, I don't want to be anything in life. Everybody wanted to be something at some point. And then now the conditions in which they are dealt, unfortunately, becomes their circumstances.
There must be something, because like I've seen a lot of people, maybe foreigners especially, coming to our country, and they are developed. Re na le di minor, re na le di what you can name them. Tse tswang from foreign countries, understand? Or neighboring countries, but still the foreigners, like the foreigners, because they're coming from neighboring countries. And we have someone maybe who's equivalent to knowledge or kama from Kasi, maybe kanana or jobetina, understand? But who's neglected.
Yes.
So now that system, mine irinkapo what the government is saying about such thing. Or do you have knowledge or when we trying to we put
Well, no. Well, I cannot speak.
Or is there anything that it's mining a developer kasi?
Of course.
Hona le di rights nyana tse itseng tse tshwanetse re di thole from the mine e tamele develop kasi ka re batho fela re se re metse bona re ra zamiwa ka jwang.
Of course, for example, I cannot speak for the mine in terms of what they would do or would not do. You get what I mean? But I would say more community outreach, because as you can look at from the days of Valris Main to Anglo Gold, there was still some form of social responsibility that was expected of the mines, because you understand that the mines are mining in the land of the people.
Yeah.
The land belongs to the people who live in it, according to our constitution.
Sure.
That's what it says about South Africa, to say one of our values is that South Africa belongs to all those who live in it. So now those are the people of the land, those are the people who live there. So obviously there's things like erosion, of course, if you tap now into environmental law and other prescripts to say now, as a measure to the erosion that takes place as a result of the mining area, there must be some sort of social justice that is being done to the people of Kanana, the people of Okni, and the neighboring communities like Bo, Ramuluzi, and all those who are neighboring countries where there's Mahamoni mines or other mines, because there's now different companies.
Sure.
So, but I think we need to go back to where the mines were taking social responsibility serious, to say now, how do we penetrate the social responsibility? And I think part of it is skill development, because some people might not have the knowledge to work with their brain, but they can work with their hands. We see those those people are the people who can be developed and be given an opportunity to do something in the society, you see. So, but now, because of the lack of funding that we see going from the mine to the community, we do no longer have those skills. We used to have soccer teams that were funded by the mines. And then in Kasi, I don't even know what soccer teams still exist there. You get what I mean? So social morale has sharply declined to the point where it also, is social justice. You find where there's a scale of activity that is declining, there will usually be poverty and crime and such developing in the society. So I think that is the issue that needs to be solved, because I think if we can develop young people, we can more than do justice to the society. We'll start to have engineers in our community. And then we need those days where professionals go to the ghetto schools. We need that. And I'm going to bind myself to doing that as well. I'll just make sure I do that as soon as we get time in our busy schedules.
Serious.
We need that social development to pick up the kids so that they can learn that there are other avenues except crime and what they see in their circumstance, in their society.
Because crime is what we see every day.
Yes, crime is
what we see every day, and we see criminals prospering and growing, doing whatsoever. Though they die, though they face some other consequences, maybe going to jail and whatnot, but we see them getting rich.
It's happening.
We see them getting rich. So, but the problem is, we see ex-teachers, Banwambamba.
Yeah.
Yes. We see ex-teachers and we don't get to see, because now the career we know that we are familiar with is teachers. Understand? Other careers, like you were saying, seeing doctors and lawyers and whatnot, in something as case, understand? So and seeing you, maybe the youngest lawyer, maybe see that to say, hey man, kasi garia, understand?
Yeah,
Unless something unless someone that we can point and say,
Yes.
man, there's someone who became a lawyer. Understand? Sure. So now, but I want to poke your mind. I want to poke your mind with something maybe politically.
Yes.
To say now, Bumalema and about this thing, the foreigners, they must leave our country.
Yes.
And like even based on what's happening in their minds,
Yes.
a lot of foreigners came.
Yes.
And they occupied like bigger positions. Even now, we have people who are on serious positions mare they don't even sendela le tšhelete kanto he can confidently give you his phone o kena ko app-eng ya banka. Who does that?
Yes,
Who does that?
Exactly.
O kena ko app-eng ya o mo sendele zaka maybe sky ko Maputo bathole zaka from that other side. So now if we have people like that and rena le batho ba ko kasi who are not working, who are saying no ke batho fela ke like batho ba bona ba reng ka bona, and that person kana ko ke winch driver ke what he was for the skill it's eating. Understand? So now there are people who say no, these foreigners must go.
Yes.
And the others says no, these are our people.
Yes,
no, let these people stay here.
Yes,
so what's your take on that?
Well, in South Africa, I think we have the Immigration Act. The Immigration Act of 2000. It helps us to see the guidelines in how we work with foreigners, you see. Because now, as you go to the Immigration Act, you'll see some people come on visas, some people come on work permits. You see some people, there could be visitation, you get what I mean? But South Africa doesn't have a problem, in our law currently, we don't have a problem with foreigners coming to South Africa to work. The only complaint that I've seen about within our citizens is that they're saying people must come lawfully, come with a visa, because when you deal with Home Affairs, they have a system that they need to trace you, or okay, there's this person in South Africa, is from this neighboring country, whether it could be Mozambique or Zimbabwe, and then they are here on this business. You see, they are not the citizen, their business is this, whether they're coming to work, whether they're coming to visit fellow family members, which that gives you 30 days visitation. But we need to understand whether you are coming here to start a business, which also the Immigration Act makes provisions for that to be able to be possible. So it's not that South Africans are saying that immigrants shouldn't come here. They're saying come here rightfully so, and which is, I think, something I do agree with, because of the fact that we have laws in place as the Republic. We cannot have everybody traveling here, because at the end of the day, we won't know what's happening. We will not be able to manage our own affairs. You see, so our sovereignty will be affected by that. But we need to get to a place whereby we don't mind everybody come in documented. Now, when you see somebody in a skill go mining, the mine must have done a background check to say, okay, is this person fitting? Is the law allowing for this person to be our employee? Is this somebody who's coming on a work permit with a specific skill to provide it towards the development of South Africa? Or is this a person who's undocumented and roaming around doing what we might not know what his business is? And then that will hamper the country, because now that means when you are here undocumented, you are not paying any taxes. You are using our medical facilities and all the government resources that are there, that are meant to be used for South Africans. Because when the budget speech sits, we have a certain amount of money that is to cater for South Africans. So if there's a third party who's coming, let us know what their business is here, so that at least when they hamper all those benefits that are allowed for human decency, we know what your business is here.
And when you are saying they must come with a skill,
yes,
to aid them, or to Baba ebe something a benefiting the country. But if now it's going to be someone who's going to come and be Malaysia.
Yes.
I mean, we can get someone and anyone, man.
Yes.
I mean, we can get anyone to be Malaysia. You can come from a foreign country and you become Malaysia.
Yes.
But that's a space, man.
Yeah.
You understand?
Well.
But we have a lot of them.
Yes.
We have a lot of them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, which maybe it's something that maybe can, and which some of these people, when they were retrenched or they were out of the mines, they became an assistance to what we're going to talk about later.
Yes.
Bozamazam, Bozamaleke, Bozamamtwega. Bozama. Understand? Now, where I understand that it's changed. Because now, I remember there was a guy on a trustee with Kai Kukasida. How low shots were moved. Who are good, man? Yeah, not out shot with some move. And I can check a demand who was in to understand. It was language is urgent. So now he's speaking that, and this guy cannot trust you. I'm not going to no, there's food here. There's food. No, there's kaolo here.
Yes.
Understand? I check okay, let's put it inside the water. Understand? Bye. Understand? So now, and I'm thinking, I'm like, no, man, no. We can have so many Malaysias. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe it's our what is this? Municipality. I don't know if the municipality fits there or it doesn't fit on. Or the people who are managing the townships to say who's going to the mines and who's not, because I think people are sending CVs and whatnot. Yes, but I don't know. But there must be something, man, that is done. Or okay, how do we regulate or that mining area, or who's going there, who's not?
Yes. I think also if you look at history, there was a time also our people were going to foreign countries, and then of course there were refugees then.
Okay.
You look at the likes of Chris Hani, who had to be in exile and everything. So I don't think South Africa had taken an approach that just because you are coming to South Africa you must bring a specific skill. We do understand that some of the neighboring countries, people with skills, certain skills that are here, but because of the background and where they come from, we became a brother. You get what I mean? So, because everybody would come to South Africa, you'd ask them why do they come, they would say from home we were struggling. So even when we had a struggle at some point, we should remember that we went to them for refuge. You get what I mean?
Why can't we eat first, man? Why can't we eat first, then we say okay, fine, there's something for you guys.
Yes.
We can't be struggling and then but we're calling other people to come and eat while we are suffering. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yes. Definitely. I think in many communities, if you can look at the Kanana community, for example, which they are closer to, I think, shaft number 10. There has been ways that has been devised. They have a steering committee there, which has its own leadership that is elected by the community. So that is how they operate with the mines. So the steering committee gets to engage the mines in terms of aspects of Banabakasi. You get what I mean? So go number 10 now, you'd find that you don't just get hired. If you are bringing a skill, say Sikomo community, and then that skill will be outsourced. But usually they will go, for example, what they were doing from last year was to go to Batubale Bakhale and say, okay, you people who still have skills, come back and work for the mines, because you still have those skills that are beneficial to the mines. And then those people had to be firstly South Africans or people who might not be South Africans, but you understand there's been those gentlemen or maybe Maputo or something, but you grew up you get what I mean? And they worked for the mine maybe before even the democratic dispensation. And then but the relevant skills sometimes. And the mine would say, because you were the people we trained at some point, come back, come work for the mines. And then that is being done. So I don't think prejudice is too unfairly being done to South Africans, because if you can go to any office space in South Africa, especially within the mines, you'd find that the leadership is likely South African. Majority of the workers, they are South African from the South African communities. And you'd find, especially in the mines where they have a system, they have DMR holding them accountable, they have other acts in operation that hold them accountable. So you'd find that they have to comply with a certain structure. The only one I've heard, is the restaurant issues where they would say foreigners get employed in the restaurants who are undocumented. And then I think some of them, we've seen them in court, such situations appearing, but I believe the courts knew how to deal with those since, well, I guess they're the guardians of the law. You said.
Okay, no, check. I just want to. Okay, it's about one night.
Yes.
I just want to now into a. I think it's one of the most in the township. I heard you talking about people who are representing, who are supposed to take people to the mines and whatnot. And I'm checking such things, even going to municipality and all that.
Yes.
These positions are occupied by gangsters.
Yes, we've heard. We cannot validate it, but we've heard.
I like in most of the cases, especially now. I don't know. Probably this was happening back in the days.
Yes.
But now I get recognition. No man, it's a rule like the gangster all along. You understand?
Yes.
Since from Tuka off, it's just that now corner maybe the younger ones are saying no, hey, me too.
Hey, no,
we want to eat as well. You understand?
Yeah.
So because now we have Boko Haram, Jobetina sites, we have Al Qaeda, we have 1818, now we have Up 7. Understand? Kokasi actually, we have Up 7 and we have 1818. I'm sure in one of the people that one of those two was like
hey, I'm not the one to speak for that.
Sure, so, but the tenders now I want to create a broad to say no, the tenders you want to like these people.
Yes.
So how do our justice system regulate this, or how do we regulate this whole thing? Because now we have gangsters. Okay, now I don't know. Maybe you tell maybe they have papers to fight this.
Yes.
And how they coming in board with the whole thing. Is it legal? What's happening?
Well, what I've heard
sure
okay, is in regard to the tenders is that normally you usually have those issues with the gangs most of the time, whereby you find certain groups or names are being mentioned to certain tenders. But one thing we must remember most is that these are the people of the community. This is the youth of the community, as we've said earlier on, and I think we did touch on it, to say you find young people hopeless. You find ghettos that are poverty-stricken. Young people are hopeless, no skill, nothing. So now, young people sometimes, they do see companies coming from outside, people registering to say, okay, there's a security company, so it's like, I have papers for security, okay, now the gang will organize itself to say, okay, as the youth, this is our stance. You'd see, we've seen it in Klerksdorp, where people who are not from here coming with companies that are supplying things that people in Klerksdorp can supply. That is not even is known. Is a known fact.
It's a known fact.
But now these young men and women of the society are trying to say, okay, give us the opportunity to deliver these things. You cannot tell me or somebody who's
Is that how you view it? Is that how you view it? To say, well, this young man and the woman of the society, because now the very same young man and the woman of society, kitty gang members, understand?
Yes.
So, but now I see maybe how you want to phrase it to say, no, these are people of the community.
Yes.
And they see these things happening.
Yes.
Or okay, these people are coming with these things,
yes,
and we have it.
Yes. And we have the capacity, meaning there are these opportunities, because sometimes there are things that are called survival modes or primal modes. When you put somebody in poverty, and then without a skill, without nothing to feed themselves, those people will find a way. Sometimes, it's either you see it in one way or the other, because at the end of the day, it still hits at the heart of saying, why are our youth even having to get to a stage where they have to form a gang for them to be heard in the society?
Okay.
Why should they resort to that? Why don't we bring things to the disposal of the youth? In that way, why don't we have people who can teach you how to say, okay, this is how you register a company. Johnny, you have a skill for security. This is how you do it. This is the proper channel you do it. So now you find somebody doesn't know how to form a company. No internet in the hood. They cannot go to the CIPC website. They cannot go where. They go maybe to an institution. They register a company. They name it. They go and say, okay, you said now, I went to the government and said, give me an opportunity. They said, you don't have a company. I go and register a company. I come now, you say, okay, but your company lacks 1 and 2 and 3. I go try to find those things. You're like, no, somebody is more capacitated than you. So you are not given a chance to grow, you see. So what are you going to do as the youth? I don't say I endorse what they are doing. By any means, I don't like it. I think we, as a youth, can get to a way where we can resolve these issues without leading up to those aspects of having to go there. That's why we can say, let us find methods to develop young people so that crime does not become the answer to the problem that lies at hands, being poverty. You get what I mean?
Because not so long ago, no changes that are good jobs.
Yeah.
There were no changes that I don't know. Maybe what's your knowledge about that? Now how did that go about?
Of course, yeah, it was a difficult time in Jobiti at the time for everybody. Yeah, and a lot of people suffered harm from those incidences. But you see, that's where we say knowledge comes into play. So of course, if we are not applying knowledge to say, okay, this is the right methods of doing things. Okay, we want these tenders, but this is the way to go. We are gonna end up fighting for our marriage. You get what I mean? So now, if the process of Horemang Otsenayang was made public information, so that we know what was taken into consideration, you said what I mean? So Kirilo says to same way you'd find the mines, Kuri mining strike around the 25th of November last year, where people of the youth of that side were saying no. We are not getting these services. And then unfortunately, if you don't give the youth that opportunity to be effective human beings in the community, the strike, the revolt, because if in every book that you can ever read that spoke about a nation or a group of young people revolting, basically even 1976 was the youth. It's always the youth revolting. So the youth, if it is not provided, or if it is not heard or provided with the resources or the tools to capacitate them, when they cry out, sometimes we see a revolt, but we cannot dictate how that revolt will come, whether it comes gang, whether it comes or join a political structure as EFF and say we're gonna stand for our people. You get what I mean? But sometimes when people are knowledge deprived, you cannot know how they're gonna react.
And it's about what you said in the beginning when we started. So about people ended up getting even criminal record and nobody wants to work with them and whatnot. So now I want to hear your take on that, because now we have people who were arrested a long time ago. Now they were arrested for many years. Dangerous people, very, very dangerous people, very, very skilled people who can think on how to disarm trained people to protect money. Like I just want to give you that picture to say,
yes.
like how to disarm them and how to go inside a bank and get money. Like breach security.
Yes.
So now, people such as that, we have them. They were arrested a long time ago. We saw the government saw their skill. It's a skill, huh?
Yes.
It's a skill, ne?
Yeah, we have different types of skills, eh?
And maybe they managed. Maybe it happens that maybe they got one of you guys and who said no. He's behaving proper there in jail, and I think let's get him back. Yeah, let's get him back to the community.
Yes.
Now, but he's coming back to the community. I think I said this, but we were discussing with this other guy who was coming from jail on the other episode to say this guy say, no, you are back in the society, you're back in the community, but you are useless.
Yes.
So you are useless now. Coming to say the government it provides these people with skills and whatnot in jail,
yes.
And they take them back to the community. But about where's our community?
Yeah, ne? Well,
because now you can't work anywhere with whatsoever that you accumulated in jail. So now, so
yeah,
and you have a skill of prison security.
Oh yeah. I see the analogy you give me.
Sure.
But I think most of the time is because that is basically the jurisdiction of the correctional parole board, you see, because of the fact that we do find ourselves the way we govern people, barabafang a second chance, we have deterrence as well as remorse that we consider when you get what I mean. So about is because some people go to prison and then they pick up skills. We need to find a way to integrate our people into the society. Because some people want to give back. Some people like the people you normally interview
sure.
in the other podcast episodes. So you find them go presenting something, and then from something they are back to the community. They cannot even go get an employment because but it's not all crimes where you'll be seen to say, okay, you cannot be hired just because you have this criminal record, of course. Because, for example, you'd find a director of a company, let's say a director of a company gets convicted of maybe embezzlement or some form of a crime that is an offense. You see, that is theft. Then when they come into the society and then they seek a job that is in finance, you are likely not gonna want to employ that person, and not to say it's wrong to do it or not do it, but I'm saying it will depend. But we need to find a way to integrate our people into the society so that we can at least say, okay, this person has been reformed, you see. The justice system has done its course, and then he's a normal human being. He can go back to the society and he can go work. He can provide services. So, but unfortunately now, police clearance to say you don't have a criminal record, but some of the work, it comes with the territory, of course, to say there are certain job descriptions that certain things would be expected from you, or you get what I mean. And of course we cannot overlook certain things. The law unfortunately doesn't work in a way that our people understand to say, okay, the law, just because they were remorseful towards you and they let you back to the society to say relevance. That's why we say it's a criminal record. Is to be there to say we remember this once happened, and then we cannot overlook it. And then even if you're a businessman, you wouldn't overlook certain things that somebody who comes work for you has done. But now we need to also look at people at face value to say, okay, this person did not only come back to the society, but also maybe sometimes only 5 months or only a year, only 2 years at the society. They've been a productive citizen since. You get what I mean? They've been involved. You see, so we cannot just look at one aspect of their life to say this person was arrested at some point, so that's why we cannot give them work. I do believe, but that is the job of the employers when they are reviewing their employees to say, okay, as much as we are remorseful, remember, if somebody has been convicted and they did the time, they did the crime and paid with their time, and then now, if they want to be reformed, at least be remorseful enough to give them that opportunity.
And who's supposed to bridge the gap to say who's supposed to be given the job? Is it the individuals of the community? Because obviously the community is still traumatized. Though you went for 10 years and whatnot, man, they're still traumatized about that. So I think the person who's supposed to bridge the gap is the government. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, well, the government can bridge, but because remember, even our society, our background, our backbone as South Africa is the principle of Ubuntu. So now we need to remember not everybody who goes to jail is ultimately a bad person. Sometimes go to court, you'll see fine looking gentlemen and women being involved in unfortunate circumstances. You get what I mean? But that does not ultimately mean we banish them into the community, in our communities. So I think also as communities, we need to go to our founding principles as the people and remember there's Ubuntu. As much as somebody might make or might err in a certain way in life, that does not mean they are not the rightful person to be integrated back into the society. Some people when they were young and then they grew up there and then they've learned different things from when they committed the crime. So would it be fair towards them to say, okay, you once committed an offense when you were 18 years old, now you are a 35-year-old man. Your mind will not be the same when you are 35 and when you are 18.
Sure.
Something should have changed in you. And then me working with, as a candidate, I used to work with people who in the criminal sphere when I was still at Klerksdorp, and you'd find some people being remorseful enough to even plead guilty to say, okay, I've done this offense, I do take note that I have wronged the law, but I'm truly remorseful. And then when they come back, there was this other guy we once represented and then we helped out on bail. And then after he came out and then the matter was dealt with by the court and it was finalized. I give at little male mo pele ga khoto ke gore ha tsama mo khoto o tlola strata so that a tsama khakalanyana kwa. Or I don't want to be on the wrong side of the law. You get what I mean? So somewhat imprisonment does that to you. And then there are separate people who even after doing the time they are not reformed and they commit those schedule one offenses again after they come from prison, which is a different circumstance. But I think what we need to do is to judge everybody on their own merits. You get what I mean? And not say just because people who did this are like this, therefore everybody else is ultimately out. We need to also exercise some compassion as people.
I hear you about this, the justice system, the way you talk about it, but I don't know, on side of them casting judgment, I see them being strict and all that. Yes. They are very, very strict when coming to casting judgment and all that. But in terms of applying justice, our police station is a disaster.
Yes.
Yeah, our police, our justice system. I don't know. But maybe you can explain it. Maybe how it works. Maybe we, as the community, community. I hope you're listening because this is going to be an educative time now. Because I know how you frustrated. I'm frustrated as well with the system. Just the system of especially the townships. I don't know what's happening in the towns and whatnot, but in the townships, you can call, you can say, Bahlaba mutu, Bahlaba mutu, yo, Baikinga, yo, Zagana. Like give them that impression that Yemen is going down. Understand? But the response will be, Koga, check. Go guys, start saving. Okay, give you hope on the call. Check. Like I think maybe 5 seconds of the first when you call. Okay, go start saving. Okay, Motsipe Street. Okay, all right. Check out, mama. No, arena there, nene. Arena.
Yes.
After talking to you, like giving you that hope of okay, which street, what, all the details, and check out with Arna Van.
Yeah.
Like the government, knowing that there's a police station in Mawes, kanana, and knowing the reputation ya kanana, the history of it in gangsterism and all that, and have leke ya di van.
Yes.
Leke ya di van, and I don't know about maybe the staff that's supposed to be working there, and again the case, how cases are treated. I don't know, maybe I don't want to bombard you with many questions and end up losing trail of what we wanted to, but that you understand, and I don't want to forget as well to say to how maybe I want to restructure this thing, to say we have this thing of the lack of vans. I don't know if there's a lack of staff, but there's always you can stay there, want to make just a simple affidavit and stay on a long queue because there's one person who's doing that. And the person maybe sometimes we look on and then 20 people are there waiting for one person. I remember even of this thing of what is this where you're going to do your competence and whatnot. One person is working there. You can wait for days. Waiting for one person, and then okay. Let me just leave these ones for you to leave this one. There's a lot. What on this one?
Yes. I can see you very passionate about it.
This one icon.
No, you know, I think the issue of whether we don't have enough vans is more of an administrative issue. You see, I do think we have committed men and women in the subs because the ones I've had a chance to encounter, they took their job seriously. You know, they are committed to the cause and finding justice for people. But sometimes you'll hear stuff when you look at the news. You'll hear we are underfunded as a police station. Resources, which I think is the people who are the higher ups. You get to see the minister must make avenues for people but I think Koma Kazana we've made a bit of a progress because Kiabona no Renale police station
Sure.
So I do believe the government is trying by all means to try to resolve those aspects, but let's say okay, police station in one area, let's just have two in the same location so that we can properly govern how we deal with crime. You get what I mean? So I would think those were the measures they tried to take in order to nipe in the bad a big problem. But we must understand that we are a developing country after all. So we just need resources within the subs as well, because you've seen most of our firms usually have a lot of lawsuits against the Minister of Police because of such aspects. You get what I mean? So if the government can just properly fund this state entities so that they're able to di-kemele or anything, because sometimes I know police officers who work day and night, whereby I like to say but then that's when you realize the justice system is doing what it can with what is presented to them. You get what I mean? So the more we have more resources for the policemen, we'll start to have a better justice system. We've tried to take progress, but we can do much more better.
Do you think TV lied to us? Do you think TV lied to us with the way police are operating? Maybe is the United States, maybe the United States lied to us, or you can just pick up a call and the police will be here, and sometimes how research are made, to say we can see a DNA of mama. I think a lot of people they've been getting away with murder, man, and there's nothing done, and like you were saying, till maybe the police finds the trail of the case. and how you've done it, then that's when they're going to come after you. But then we saw a lot of people who did horrible things because now there's no evidence.
Yes.
People get away with it. Marara Sheba TV da go America. We see the forensic is very heavy.
Yes.
The forensic side is very, very heavy. There was a hair. There was a hair. That guy went to a point of getting a hair.
Yes.
And say no, there was a hair there, and this DNA it matches. And when now you said you were somewhere at this time and whatnot. You know those questions.
Yes.
We don't have that, man. We don't have that here.
No, maybe it's because people don't see these things often in South Africa, or we don't showcase them.
Okay.
But they do take place because remember, even with people who become victims of crimes like rape, they do take you to the police station and samples are taken. They are sent to the lab in Pretoria and then to be validated. Yes.
So Mare, I want you to explain this thing. You are guilty, King. You are guilty not till proven guilty, or you are
innocent till proven guilty.
Innocent, or you are innocent till proven guilty.
Yeah.
But we saw people going in and the hands that we have, like cases kind of getting people suing the government and whatnot. Why are people taken to jail but you are innocent?
Well, here's the thing. You are innocent till proven guilty. When you get bail or your application for bail, let's say, it's not in respect of the fact that you are guilty or not.
Okay.
Because it's a reception court. Because once you get arrested, you get charged with an offense. Then after you are charged with an offense, you get processed into the system where you are to appear within 48 hours before a magistrate, you see. So now, in those aspects, what bail is there for is to secure your attendance to your case. So it's not necessarily mean that we've ruled that you are guilty or not. Because imagine now in a circumstance, because somebody might say, why innocent until proven guilty when we've seen you commit the offense.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not for us to pronounce that, you see. It's for the court to pronounce whether you are innocent or proven guilty. But that is the trial court. That's what the trial court deals with. But for the purpose of bail, we are just securing your attendance in court, meaning we are saying, will you attend your matter? Will you not intimidate witnesses? Will you not commit any further offenses? And then you are not a flight risk, basically. So you'll attend your case to its finality. So it's not an aspect of saying, just because you got bail, you are free. But that seems to frustrate our communities, Kokasi, because of the fact that Kokasi, when you are out on bail, they don't understand or know your case is still has to be proven against you. They think now you've beat the system. And then it can happen that somebody becomes on bail, but at the end of the day, they are found guilty. And somebody can be denied bail and still be found to be innocent. I think we've seen even in that incidence of Durban, it even went to a stage where somebody was convicted and they stayed 14 years in prison. And then at a later stage, it was found that they're innocent. So now, before that evidence is tested on which they say you are guilty upon, it's better, at least for a court, to assess it and know what the evidence is against you and it be proven that you are guilty. Because if we start assuming everybody's guilty now, we might have people who are innocent truly and then they get prosecuted for something they are not guilty of. So the rights of those people must be secured as well.
So hence we see people suing the states like this.
That's why we see
gangsters are millionaires there. What's happening?
Yes, because some of the people, of course, they are not found guilty for these offenses, because then if we say, for example, you did something, you robbed a store, we are supposed to levy evidence that proves you did that thing, meaning it's the duty of the prosecutor and the investigating officer to build a case against you and then to prove at the end of the day that you were responsible for committing that offense. And then unlawful arrest doesn't lie with the fact that you were arrested unlawfully. We need to check, was there reasonable suspicion, was there a warrant there? You get what I mean? On which you were arrested based upon and which you were brought to court based upon, and then of which such a crime was either proven or disproved against you.
So, Mare, do you think the system, maybe the justice system, by not maybe making us aware of what they are doing, do you think they are doing justice? Because we are frustrated as a community.
Yes. Well,
we are very, very frustrated because we don't know what they are doing. But they, like you are speaking, when are you speaking as if things are happening? And then I think I can see that. You know, I think I can see it. Or no, it's again. Yeah, it's really happening. Yeah. It's really happening. I can testify to that to say. Yeah, probably there's a probability that these things are happening. But we are frustrated as a community because we don't see such interrogation. What we see is we'll see a police coming at your house without